Okay, so what I'm going to do here is this, as I had mentioned on a recording on Sunday, what I'm going to walk through is taking our what we've gathered so far in terms of a request to create a disaster recovery business impact plan and the analysis of the information we've gathered so far about the technical infrastructure and the applications infrastructure, and put it into a format that we can use as it basically uses our planning guide to be able to report back um, to the leadership of the organization based upon what their request is. All right, so the way we're going to do this is what we're going to use is we're not necessarily going to write this thing from scratch. We're actually going to use the template that's provided by NIST to develop a business impact analysis. All right, so this is our NIST special publication 800-34-R1, all right, special publication. Starting on page 119 of this document is Appendix B. All right, so Appendix B is basically a model of what a report would look like. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to carve this out. Okay, we're going to carve this whole document out and put it into a Word document. All right, so it's going to be from it's basically from page 119 to 122. All right, which is the entire appendix. So what you want to do is you want to take this document. It's in a PDF format on the class site. You should download it, come down to these pages, carve them out, basically do a cut and paste into a Word document. And what we'll create is this basically template document. Okay, so let's walk through this. We'll kind of explain the process here. All right, so the idea is, and actually what NIST has developed is really a program, a process through which information is gathered, analysis is done, and then recommendations and a plan is established. All right. So what we're going to do is at the beginning, we have our kind of as we describe this in here. We're going to be looking at processes and system criticality and do an evaluation of how critical they are. All right. So in each organization, the processes for each organization vary by organization. Like if you're a manufacturer of consumer goods, obviously there's, uh, it's a manufacturing organization, so the center of the operation is manufacturing. If you're a bank, then the center of your operation is the execution of financial transactions. If you are a technical infrastructure organization, like I say, a service provider, your core business processes center on uh, service delivery model. Okay, so each organization will have is made up of a variety of processes. All right, these processes are executed through applications. So a combination of individual steps, individual elements of tasks that have to be done. All right, and then in a particular sequence to get a particular output, which is really the definition of a process. And part of these are manual steps, and some of these are driven through computer systems. All right. So what we've been provided so far, in this case, is this kind of introduction or technical landscape overview. All right. So there's, as we had described before, there are three big chunks of applications. All right. And these applications actually translate to, these functions, these business applications support business functions, and supports the enablement of processes. Okay, so there's an accounting, there's a set of processes associated with accounting, um, so processes associated with accounts receivable. All right, so basically bills and getting paid. There's also another set of processes around purchasing, and as you said, you know, the accounts payable is us paying bills. There's a human resource function, and there's a facilities and maintenance function. Right? So these are the business applications. These are what we call business applications. Right? In our scenario, what we're talking about is doing this for a school. All right. So in addition to the business applications, we have a set of academic applications. All right. So that would be in case, example would be our set of academic support processes applications, which we call Moodle. In addition, we have an application that handles the registration processes, the processes associated with setting up classes, assigning students to classes, assigning classes to classrooms, assigning professors to classes, and that whole set of processes, part and parcel of this is all done through this registration application. There's a billing application, all right, which is also tied into the accounting and accounts receivable applications, but is billing for for X number of price per credit hour, as it were. And then there's a set of academic records, all right, infrastructure, or excuse me, the history of who's taking the class when, what was their results, what degrees were granted, so on and so forth. And this is a long-term record, because people will be coming back 20, 30, 40 years, getting copies of their transcripts. Right? So this is a pretty important thing. This is the long-term memory of the institution. Right? And finally, we have what we call collaboration applications. So this is going to be used, they're not applications of themselves, but they support, communication processes, collaboration processes. So electronic mail, which pretty familiar with, basically sending electronic communications to everybody in the organization. And in addition, we also have an office automation application. So it's our traditional Microsoft Office. In this case, we said it's Office 365, which is a cloud-based offering. All right, so we have this as a starting point. All right, so let's go back to our NIST plan here. Okay, so the first step is define processes. Right, step one of the BIA process, working with user input from users, managers, mission business process owners, and other internal and external points of contact. Identify specific mission business processes that depend on or support information systems. All right. So in this case, what we're going to use is as our guide is these applications. So we've kind of have to describe the application. So we can say these applications are the applications that we've identified here represent sets of business processes. So we have an accounting process set, accounts receivable, so on and so forth down the line. Right? And each one supports the processes in a particular area of the school. Right, so as we go through this, so what we're going to want to do is basically list out, in this case, what we'll call it mission, business process, and applications. All right, so we can call accounting, accounts payable. So what we can do is basically we can build this out, take our list of applications, and basically build out this matrix here. All right, with the description of each one, kind of what each application does and what it supports. Right. And actually, we can actually replicate what we have here. Business applications, academic, and collaboration. we can replicate that in our document here. Right? So we can just basically, this would be a process of filling out um, filling this out with the applications. All right. So the other thing is within this template here, the idea is what we're going to do is from the purposes, what we want to do is what we'll keep is everything that is in normal text, anything that is in defined in italics is stuff we can take out. So when you cut this into a document, we can take all this stuff out here. We're using it as kind of a guide. But so what we want is all the words. And so we can keep the purpose, overview, purpose. Obviously, we can replace, for, in our case, it would be for our school, prepared, on what date. We can take this stuff and keep it, basically we can keep this stuff intact. All right. System description. Now the system description is really what we've described in this document here. Right? So it's really a combination of the applications here, plus the technical infrastructure, kind of descriptions of what they are in this diagram right here. So this second piece, the system description, is really taking, so what you can do is take what we've described in this deck right here, and you can transcribe and take the content of the slides and then put some words around to describe it. All right, so what we'll have is kind of take what we have in this presentation here and move it into our deck here. All right, so it gives our system description. And then what we'll be doing is, once we have all that mapped out and laid out, then we will look at our, step one of our BIA process will be then to take, as we call it the mission business process. In our case, we use it as the application. Define all of our applications, put a description and a description for each one of these. All right. Now, what's going to happen is all of these things are not equal. All right. So, if we look at the list of applications, there are some applications for a school that are more important than others. All right. So part of the challenge, what we're going to put out here is to take this list and really organize it and sort it into, what would be, from your estimation, what would be the most critical applications that you want to restore, the most impactful applications to get operational. All right, and you can choose that. You can, as we organize it and sort it through, what we want to do is put a justification of, what is the impact? Is the impact high, medium, low? And that would come really in this next section of the paper here. All right, so basically this would be the section here. This would be a matter of taking the information we have in this data we've collected here and then kind of analyzing it, basically putting, the impacts. All right, and we can say, severe, medium, moderate, or minimal. All right, and basically organize our applications into that space. Okay, so for each application, we would you can create a matrix or a table and say for each application you can classify it as, high, medium, low. All right. And so you have something like, so it would look something like this. It would be, in this case, it would be, on this application, you can make it, high, medium, low, and then probably you can put maybe some comment around that to justify why it would, if this particular comment about, why you would think that way. All right, so we would have a table So we'll have a table here. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, this is, we're taking this a piece at a time. So what I'd like you to do is, for our first part here, is go out into, take special publication 834. All right. Carve out Appendix B into a Word document. Okay. Take what we've described here in this presentation, kind of these, 1, 2, 3, 4 slides. Basically, take those and really translate that into a description here. And then take the applications, take our first step of defining the applications. All right. And then, if from that list of applications, organize them, sort them in a high, medium, low order. Put it into a high, medium, low order. With a description of why you think what would be the most important second. So the idea is what we want to do is we want to see, okay, we have to recover all of these systems. All right. So in order to recover these systems, we have to figure out we can't do them all at the same time. And in addition, some things may be dependent upon other things. All right. So what you need to do is, what is the most important thing? The most important thing will be the one that has the greatest potential impact. All right. And then, which would be the one you would want to recover first. Put the priority on that. All right. So if we get that, put that together. And then what we'll do is we'll once we have that as kind of our baseline there, all right, that's a pretty big chunk of this, but once we have that, then we'll continue to move forward, because then what we'll do is we'll start putting the description of once we know what sequence things are going to be done, then we can put the plan, we can put the next level of the plan is to try to figure out what are the things that have to be done in alignment in order to recover all those applications. All right. So any question, just reach out to me. We'll kind of work, as I said, we're kind of working our way through this now. But this is, in real life, this is kind of exactly the process we do. Is we get a request, we gather some information, we get a template. We basically, we don't necessarily write this thing from the ground up. We take an existing template document, and then we basically incorporate the information that we've gathered in our analysis into the template. Okay? As I said, any questions on this, give me a yell, and we'll keep moving this thing forward. All right? Be safe, and I'll talk to you soon.